Dense fog sits on the runway. Visibility, 20 meters. Legally, a human pilot cannot see enough to land manually. Somewhere above you, through 300 meters of cloud and suspended water droplets, an airliner is descending at 500 feet per minute. It will place its main wheels within the first 300 meters of concrete, on centerline at the correct speed, not approximately, not usually. Every single certified approach under these conditions lands precisely. The question is how? And the answer involves two radio beams, a crosshair painted invisibly in the sky, and a computer that cares nothing about what it cannot see. Aviation divides visibility into 4 approach categories. In Category 1 conditions, a pilot needs to see 800 meters of runway ahead before they can continue below the decision altitude. Most people experience Category 1 flights every day. Often without knowing it, the pilot looks out the window at the right moment and the runway is simply there. Category 3 is different. Category 3B allows runway visual range of less than 75 meters. At that distance, you cannot see the far end of a standard aircraft. The nose gear is outside your visible range before the tail has crossed the threshold. In Category 3C, the certification covers zero visibility entirely, a condition where the instrument landing system must handle every phase of the approach, flare, touchdown, and rollout without the crew seeing anything outside the cockpit. Only a handful of airports worldwide are certified for Category 3C operations. But Category 3B autoland happens thousands of times a year, largely without passengers knowing it occurred. The instrument landing system works by broadcasting 2 radio signals from the runway simultaneously. The localizer sits at the far end of the runway, beyond the departure threshold, and transmits a beam precisely aligned with the runway center line. The aircraft receiver compares signal strength on either side of that beam. Drift left, and the localizer needle moves right. Drift right, and it moves left. The cockpit display shows exactly where the aircraft sits relative to centerline, within a fraction of a degree. The glide slope antenna is positioned beside the runway at the touchdown zone, roughly 300 meters from the threshold. It broadcasts a beam angled at 3 degrees from horizontal. Too high above that beam and the glide slope needle drops. Sink below it and the needle climbs. When both needles are centered, the aircraft is on a precise 3-dimensional track, aligned with the runway, descending on the correct glide path. The ILS beam does not require visibility to function. It does not attenuate in fog. Radio waves pass through zero visibility conditions as accurately as through clear air, because they do not interact with water droplets the way light does. In a standard approach, the autopilot uses ILS signals to guide the aircraft to a decision altitude, typically between 60 and 200 feet above the runway. A human pilot then takes over, confirms the runway is visible, and manually completes the landing. In a Category 3 autoland, there is no takeover. The autopilot and auto throttle remain engaged through touchdown. The aircraft begins the flare automatically, measuring height above the runway through radar altimeters rather than barometric instruments, because radar altimeters remain accurate within a few feet of the ground, where barometric readings become unreliable due to local pressure variations. At approximately 30 feet, the auto throttle retards to idle and the nose begins to rise. At touchdown, the aircraft commands reverse thrust and maximum braking. On certain certified aircraft and runway combinations, the autopilot also steers the nose gear through rollout. 2 or 3 redundant autopilot computers run simultaneously and cross-check each other's calculations continuously. If any single computer produces a result that disagrees with the others by more than a defined threshold, that computer removes itself from the loop and the remaining pair continues the approach without interruption. The ground infrastructure required for Category 3 certification is as precise as the aircraft equipment. The ILS localizer and glide slope antennas must be calibrated to tolerances tighter than 2 meters of lateral error at the runway threshold, verified by regular flight inspection aircraft that fly the beam and log deviations to the millimeter. A critical protection area around each antenna must remain completely clear of vehicles and aircraft during every low visibility approach. A single service vehicle moving through that zone can deflect the localizer beam enough to produce a deviation the autopilot will chase. At Category 3 airports, a hold short line exists several hundred meters from the threshold. When an aircraft is on short final in low visibility conditions, nothing crosses that line. The runway surface itself must drain within 15 minutes of heavy rain and maintain specific friction levels. Centerline lights are embedded at 15-meter intervals. The approach light system extends up to 900 meters beyond the threshold, giving pilots their first visual confirmation of the environment if conditions improve enough for them to see anything at all. Category 3 certification requires demonstrated in-service reliability, built up over thousands of recorded approaches. An ILS system must maintain signal integrity across a long operating history before an airport earns the low visibility designation. Aircraft must carry duplicate or triplicate autopilot systems, independent hydraulic circuits, separate radio receivers, and backup power for every component involved in the landing chain. The combined rate of approach and landing accidents in certified autoland operations is lower than the equivalent rate for manual landings in clear visibility. Fog is not the primary risk in modern aviation. Human decision-making under pressure and reduced cues is the risk. Autoland removes the condition most likely to produce that error. The next time you break through cloud at 100 feet and the runway lights appear directly ahead, that precision was not chance. It was a localizer beam, a glide slope signal, 3 autopilot computers cross-checking each other in real time, and ground equipment maintained to tolerances most people would consider surgical. The fog never mattered. The system was designed to work without ever seeing through it.